Hello, Swift Football. Today we're going to be talking about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins' career started in Washington. In Washington, he put up 3 seasons of over 4,000 passing yards. With the Minnesota Vikings, his next team, he put up 4 seasons of 4,000 passing yards, and in one season, he was very close with 3,600. In his final season with the Vikings, he went down with a major Achilles injury. This absolutely derailed his season, and he missed the rest of the year. Now, coming into that offseason, before the 2024 season, this last season, people didn't know where he would go. If he would re-sign with the Vikings or go to one of the many QB-needy teams. The Vikings supposedly had long extension talks with him, but in the end decided to go elsewhere for a quarterback. Kirk Cousins signed a major deal with the Atlanta Falcons very early in that free agency period. He got big money, a lot of it fully guaranteed, at least for the first year or two. He signed a 3-year contract and was expected to be the starter for at least a year or two. Then, not too long after, the NFL draft came. The Falcons were picking very, very high in the draft, and most people expected them to go O-line, wide receiver, something to help Kirk Cousins with this brand new offense that they were going to build around him. Or maybe a major defensive contributor to help them become a win-now team, like people thought when they signed this older Kirk Cousins fresh off an injury. Instead, however, they went with Michael Penix Jr., a rookie quarterback, very, very early in the draft. This shocked many NFL fans, including myself. Why would they take this draft pick when they just signed a huge quarterback deal with Kirk Cousins? It almost made no sense. Until you fast forward to midway to most of the way through the season. Kirk Cousins hadn't been playing very well, he hadn't been playing good football, and he just didn't look like himself. On the Vikings, he was consistently winning games just through the air. He was feeding his receivers, and everybody looked great. The offense ran great around him. He just didn't quite have the velocity on his ball, probably due to his injury, not being fully recovered, and just the age he's at. He's not at the point, he's not a 25-year-old where his body can just recover as quickly. That being said, almost all the way through the season, Michael Penix got the opportunity to start, and I don't think he'll ever go back. The Atlanta Falcons took a big risk taking Penix that early in the draft, and it looks like they're just going to stick with that pick. So now, the question is, where does Kirk Cousins go? The Raiders were definitely a potential team where he could have landed, but they got Geno Smith as their quarterback for at least the next year. They could also go with a quarterback in the draft to set themselves up for the future, so they've got a couple different options. The New York Giants were another spot where Daniel Jones, their quarterback for the future, was let go last season, partway through the season. Now they've got Jameis, an ex-Browns quarterback, and Russell Wilson, who has had an interesting career. An all-star on the Seahawks, to a rough patch on the Broncos, to a decent year on the Steelers, now will be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants. So, with those two teams out of the question, I believe he's going to go to the Browns. The Browns just got rid of Jameis and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, their 2 backup quarterbacks. Jameis looking plenty talented to play the backup for any team in the NFL. He has a very big arm, but a lot of turnovers cause him to not quite fit the starting role most teams are looking for in the NFL. So, the Browns are perfect. Deshaun Watson has really been struggling with injuries and performance. A lot of controversy on and off the field, and then injury after injury to end his season for the last few years. He's just not what NFL GMs want as their starting quarterback. So, Kirk Cousins would absolutely step in and be the starter right away if he got signed to the Browns. But would he really have a major impact on the team and their performance? Kirk Cousins looked great on the Vikings, but he also played alongside Justin Jefferson, one of the best young and upcoming receivers in the entire NFL, along with a star tight end in TJ Hawkinson, and a great play caller in Kevin O'Connell. Now, with the Browns, could he do the same performance? Kirk Cousins also never really did anything in the playoffs. He always struggled in the playoffs, and when games mattered, like some of the first round playoff exits from the Vikings, he just never really made the impact people were looking for. So, that being said, I don't believe that Kirk Cousins will be the solution for the Browns. I do believe that Kirk Cousins will sign with the Browns, but this will be a 1 to 2 year band-aid on the Browns' QB problem. They definitely need to look for a QB in future NFL drafts that could be a complete difference maker and that they could have for the next 4 to 5 to 10 to 15 years, and that could successfully build their franchise on. They could also look for another QB like they got Deshaun, where he's young and has a lot of talent and they could sign him to a long contract. However, based off their experience with Deshaun Watson, I highly doubt that this will be the path they'll go with. So like I said, I don't think Kirk Cousins will make a huge difference, but I do think he'll be on the Browns next season. And I do think he'll have, a pretty solid season without much playoff success in the next 1 to 2 years. Then I would be looking for the Browns to pick up somebody else. Let me know what you think. Do you think Kirk Cousins will end up on the Browns? If so, do you think he'll make a difference, or he'll just be another starting QB for a year and then get traded off for the next rookie that comes in the year after? Let me know down below in the comments what you think about this Kirk Cousins news and what you want to see next. Please subscribe to keep up to date with Swift Football videos, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.